Sir, I'm just wondering what is the message precisely that India is trying to convey via Operation Sindoor, and how is it different from previous strikes and operations in that sense?
Sir, I just want to know that will this situation escalate further, and sir, will China intervene in this situation? I just wanted to know directly, as we know, indirectly China is backing the Pakistan. Will China directly intervene in this situation, sir?
हाँ, ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट पूछ लो आप भी, ऑफलाइन वाले ने तो पूछ लिया। तो क्वेश्चन है,
Sir, according to you, what would be the response of US government, specifically Mr. Trump being in power, on the tensions that have escalated between India and Pakistan, definitely because of the irresponsible behavior of Pakistan?
और अगर आपको याद हो तो मैंने कहा था ऑल वॉर्स आर फॉट फॉर 3 Gs। व्हाट आर दीज 3 Gs? हाँ, यस, गोल्ड, ग्लोरी। Alexander fought for what? Glory. I should be remembered long after I'm gone. और थर्ड क्या था? Gospel, religion. तो all wars are fought for gold, glory and gospel. आप देख लो, कोई थर्ड वॉर का कोई रीजन ही नहीं है। और आजकल आप करते हो ना चाय पे चर्चा टाइप, ठीक है ना, उसके लिए तो कंटेंट मिल गया आपको बहुत सारा। एक तो एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड होते हैं, एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ते हैं। So yesterday we started our discussion with the theories of international relations, and we discussed about one of the major theory and the school of international relation, that is realism. I hope you have a clarity of this particular theory of IR, right? Now, what realism stands for? What is the hardcore belief of the realist is that wars are inevitable, right? And the concepts on which this school of realism believes are that what prevails in the world is anarchy, what prevails is balance of power, what prevails is that states will never compromise on their core national interest. And which interest comes under the category of core interest? I hope you remember what I said yesterday. Yes, that is integrity and sovereignty. No country will compromise on the issue of integrity and sovereignty. So these are the hardcore belief of realist. And realist believes that wars are inevitable, right? So, but this also we discussed that another dominant theory of international relation, okay, which comes as a counter narrative to realism is liberalism, and it was liberals who sounded the death knell for the theory of international relation, that with the end of Cold War, realism has lost its relevance. This much we discussed yesterday. So, according to them, now with the emergence of the institutions of global governance, with the emergence of economic interdependence, no more it is like this, that realism will dominate and states will frame their policies based on the liberal ideas, right? But we ended the class with this question mark: can we say realism has lost its relevance? And I hope all of you can clearly understand that realism, that is what the hardcore belief of the realist is, that realism is a timeless wisdom, and they believe wars are inevitable. No matter what, states will keep fighting war. Okay. The belief of the realist is either states are preparing for war or they are actually fighting the war. Okay. So this is what the belief of realists are. So any question you have?
Sir, I'm just wondering what is the message precisely that India is trying to convey via Operation Sindoor, and how is it different from previous strikes and operations in that sense?
So now you are saying, the question is that what are the major takeaways from India's Operation Sindoor? No, but let's say now from exam point of view, this is not that, because no one is going to ask you in mains to write what India wants to achieve through this particular operation, right? Now this is this can be a good classroom discussion. Okay, this can be a discussion to widen your understanding about the geopolitical dynamics, right? From exam point of view is that this operation clearly reflects this aspect, that realism is a timeless wisdom. Even now a war has initiated. So many kinetic actions are going on right now in the world which clearly reflect realism as a theory is still intact and it still prevails. Okay. Since 2008 financial crisis, challenges started emerging in the liberal order, and world is again being governed as per the views and the thoughts of the realist. Okay, so states are still not ignoring balance of power. States are still not ignoring their military capabilities. States still wants to maintain nuclear deterrence, and actual war has been started between the two hostile or between two neighbors again in this region. So one war is going on in Europe, one is going on in West Asia, and the third has started in Asia. So it clearly reflects that realism is still relevant. Now, because you have asked this question, let's understand what we want to achieve through this Operation Sindhu. Let's analyze this from a much wider perspective. So first is the diplomatic message we want to give. Okay. What is the diplomatic message we want to give? The name itself reflects, that is Sindoor. Okay. Signifies the cultural significance which Sindoor holds for Indians, that how important it is that even we can spill blood on the name of Sindoor. So it's a clear-cut message, a strong message given by our side by keeping the name of this operation Sindoor. Second thing, another brilliant stroke of diplomacy from our side, that women officers, we all know this, that it is the women officers who disclose the details of the operation. Terrorists send message to the Indian state through women, and we conveyed a strong message from our women officers. So there is a strong diplomatic message being given to the neighboring hostile country. Third thing, clearly reflects this operation of ours, the unfolding of Dowal doctrine. So Indian government is pursuing this doctrine from last decade or so, and what Dowal doctrine stands for? Bullet for bullet. Okay. So if anyone will try to use bullet against us, reply will be in the same, message will going to be in the same way. Okay. This bullet for bullet Dowal doctrine we are pursuing, I hope you remember, we are pursuing this in context to deal with left-wing extremism too. Okay. So it is going on in context of left-wing extremism. We are offering you ballot. If someone does not want to use ballot, if use bullet, will be given the message in the same language. So unfolding of Dowal doctrine. Fourth thing, as you can see, you can count exactly this operation took place after 13 days. Okay, 13 days in Indian culture is the period of mourning, and we have replied exactly after 13 days. Okay, so strong diplomatic message we have given through this military operation Sindoor. So first is the diplomatic message which we have given. Second thing which we want to convey through this military operation is zero tolerance on terrorism. No more India will going to tolerate terrorism on its soil. Okay, that is the cold start doctrine, a swift military action, cold start doctrine, a swift military action on against any violent act of terrorism on our soil. So clearly reflecting zero tolerance. India is clearly shedding its image of being a bit too soft on the issue of terrorism. And now we are clearly saying that we will not going to tolerate any violence against Indian civilians on our soil. Third thing which we have achieved through this operation is that we are increasing the cost of proxy war. We are increasing the cost of proxy war which Pakistan has waged against us since 90s under their strategy of bleeding India through 1,000 cuts. So Pakistan is fighting a proxy war. Pakistan learned its lesson in 70s that they cannot win a direct war against us. 71 war shattered the dream of the military of Pakistan of having military parity against India. Their 90,000 soldiers surrendered. Never such surrender has ever took place in the history. Okay. And after that, Pakistan realized they need to push a proxy war. So around 90s, Pakistan decided to use this strategy against us. That is to bleed India. This is the reason why post 90s they decided to acquire nuclear weapon to cut down the chances of a direct confrontation against India. So there are cycle of terrorist attack against India. Okay, and somehow they were able to prevent the conventional war by using the threat of a nuclear war. So now by this military action, we have clearly increased the cost of proxy war for Pakistan, that India will not shy away from attacking the terrorist camps within the soil of Pakistan. And with this operation, we have ended the threat of the nuclear attack against India. So the bogey which Pakistan used against us of using its nuclear weapon, this myth has also been clearly shattered. They can't afford to go for a nuclear attack against India because India has the capability to survive, and it is clearly mentioned in our doctrine that retaliation will going to be this heavy that there will be no Pakistan on world map. So we have ended this nuclear bogey also with this particular military action. So increase the cost of proxy war. With this military action, we want to further widen the fissures which prevails within the politics of Pakistan. If the military of Pakistan will escalate this issue further, which they have already done that. Okay, I was not expecting that they will go this far. So if they will further escalate military tensions with us, it will increase the fissures within the politics of Pakistan, as Pakistani military is already facing pressures along its western borders and in its provinces, that is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, and there can be a rebellion against the military of Pakistan in Balochistan. You can clearly see before this Pahalgam attack, if you see the series of events, first took place what? The hijacking of the Jafar Express in Balochistan, which put a big dent on the military of Pakistan. Now the image of Pakistan was coming under big challenge. The trust among the civilians reduced on the military of Pakistan to keep a stronghold over Balochistan. Then came the speech of the military general, that is Asim Munir, that Kashmir is a jugular vein. No power can take Balochistan away from us. And he revoked the two-nation theory. Such a coincidence that in the hijacking of the Jafar Express, exactly 26 people died. Then came, so he revived the two-nation theory in his speech addressing the diaspora community of Pakistan. Now such a coincidence that in that hijacking of the Jafar Express, exactly 26 people died. Then came Pahalgam attack, in which somehow 26 people has only died. And then in that retaliation came what? This Operation Sindoor. So we want to increase fissures in the politics of Pakistan. So if military of Pakistan will further escalate tensions, it will be more challenging for them to keep their control within Balochistan. Probably BLA will increase its insurgency and attacks within Balochistan. Right? So for them, handling Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where TIT is active, Tehreek-e-Taliban, is a much bigger challenge. Another message which we want to give through this operation is we want to give a strong message to our neighborhood that what kind of capabilities we hold, and we want to give a strong message to China, which we have already given. Okay, so a strong messaging we have given to our neighboring countries and to China, and we have been able to project our strong defense capabilities. Okay, in our earlier discussion, someone asked her how credible our air defense system is. So I hope you remember. I don't remember exactly who asked this. Someone asked this question. Okay. So you asked this question, right? So how credible our defense system is, and I said that our experts, their stand is we have a credible defense system. We have a three-tier defense system, our own defense system which we have developed. Then we have taken Iron Drone system from Israel, and we have S-400. I said, if you remember, that capability has yet to be tested. At that time, I was not aware that in such a short period of time, its capability will be tested. And yesterday night we have seen how credible and capable our defense system is. So we have been able to project our strong defense capabilities too. So I hope now you can understand what all we wanted to achieve through this Operation Sindoor and how strong message we have been able to give to the neighboring countries, to Pakistan, and to the international community that India will not going to tolerate terrorism on its soil. Okay.
Sir, I just want to know that will this situation escalate further, and sir, will China intervene in this situation? I just wanted to know directly, as we know, indirectly China is backing the Pakistan. Will China directly intervene in this situation, sir?
Now, yes, for sure, China's interest lies in Pakistan. China's strong interest lies in Pakistan. China is investing heavily in POK region, that is the CPAC, which we consider is a clear violation of our sovereignty. China has invested heavily in Balochistan, the Gwadar port. Okay, but your question is, will China going to interfere in this conflict? Answer is big no. Why? Now you need to understand this. China is a communist state, that is one party rule. And China is a capitalist economy. Already, because of the tariff war which is going on between China and US, there is so much pressure on a Chinese economy. India is one of the biggest market for China. Highest trade partner for who is the biggest trade partner for India? China. And we have high trade deficit, means we import a lot from China. So India is one of the biggest market for China since tariff wars has started with US. On one side, China is trying to tap the Southeast Asian market. Their leader has recently visited Malaysia and Vietnam. Can they afford to lose such a big market like India? Okay. If they will escalate tensions with India right now, okay, and if India will restrict the entry of Chinese goods, yes, we will suffer. But because of the feeling of nationalism, probably Indians will agree to suffer. But if Indians will restrict the entry of Chinese goods, for sure it will increase economic hardships in China or not? And if economic hardships will increase in China, there can be a political protest in China or not? Against whom? The communist leaders. And communist leaders' grip on power will reduce. So this is the reason why China can't afford to interfere in this conflict. And that is why they are silent on this issue, because right now in US, Trump is in power, who is ready to go for its economic, who is ready to go for what? The tariff war with China. And right now Trump under MAGA movement, that is Make America Great Again, is solely focusing on what? Countering China. So because of the pressure from US, right now China is not in a position to interfere, and that is why you can see complete silence from China. So yes, for sure China will not going to interfere in this military conflict which is going on between India and Pakistan. तो अब ये समझ लो, ये एग्जाम में ऐसे नहीं आने वाला, बट ये समझ होनी चाहिए या नहीं? बिल्कुल होनी चाहिए. आपको पता होना चाहिए चाइना क्यों नहीं कर रहा, क्योंकि चाइना कम्युनिस्ट है, वन पार्टी रूल है. ठीक है ना? चाइना वन पार्टी रूल होते हुए भी कैपिटलिस्ट इकोनॉमी है, ये बात पता होनी चाहिए आपको. ठीक है ना? चाइना ने कब लिबरलाइज किया? 80s में. हमने कब लिबरलाइज किया? 90s में. तो चाइना इज अ डिकेड अहेड. चाइना 10 साल आगे है हमसे, इसीलिए. राइट? तो ये बातें आपको पता होनी चाहिए. एग्जाम में नहीं पूछा आएगा, जो मैंने आपको इतना बड़ा एंगल बताया कि हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर क्यों किया, बट ऑपरेशन सिंदूर रिफ्लेक्ट्स वन थिंग, रियलिज्म इज still intact. Realism is a timeless wisdom, the belief, hardcore belief of realists that wars are inevitable. If you see the whole history of human civilization, it is about what? Wars. Humans has always fought wars. Ancient history पढ़ोगे आप, पढ़ते हो जो पढ़ ही रहे हो, ancient history में क्या पढ़ा है आपने? Wars. Medieval history क्या है? Wars. और modern history क्या है? Wars. Means this is what realists believe, wars are inevitable. और अगर आपको याद हो तो मैंने कहा था all wars are fought for 3 G's. What are these 3 G's? Yes, gold, glory. Alexander fought for what? Glory. I should be remembered long after I'm gone. और third क्या था? Gospel, religion. तो all wars are fought for gold, glory and gospel. आप देख लो, कोई थर्ड वॉर का कोई रीजन ही नहीं है. ठीक है, इतना समझ आया? और कोई क्वेश्चन पूछ लो. अब जब इतना कर ही रहे हैं तो आज आपने टॉपिक से तो डेविएट हो ही गए हो, तो पूछ लो थर्ड क्वेश्चन भी, और कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो. हाँ, ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट पूछ लो आप भी, ऑफलाइन वाले ने तो पूछ लिया. तो क्वेश्चन है,
Sir, according to you, what would be the response of US government, specifically Mr. Trump being in power, on the tensions that have escalated between India and Pakistan, definitely because of the irresponsible behavior of Pakistan?
व्हाट विल बी द स्टैंड ऑफ यूएस इन दिस? हाँ ठीक है, दोबारा बोलो, सही से सुनाई नहीं दिया. ओके, सो व्हाट विल बी द स्टैंड ऑफ द यूएस नाउ? कोल्ड वॉर याद है? ड्यूरिंग कोल्ड वॉर यूएस कैसी पॉलिसी फॉलो कर रहा था टुवर्ड्स इंडिया पाकिस्तान? यूएस वाज परस्यूइंग हाइफनेशन टुवर्ड्स पाकिस्तान, बिकॉज यूएस इंटरेस्ट वर विद पाकिस्तान एट दैट टाइम, as US was used Pakistan to keep communism in check, because at that time US was pursuing the policy of containment. So Pakistan became the ally of US in its war against the communist. 90 onwards, the Cold War ended. India liberalized its economy. So India became very important for US as a market. But after 9/11, that is 2001, US started a global war against terror. In this war against terror, US again looked towards Pakistan. US made Pakistan as its ally. Right? India stand was, this will not serve your interest, because Pakistan is the hub of terror. That's a different discussion, but I hope you remember this, that Pakistan became the ally of US in its war against terror. Now, since the withdrawal of US from Afghanistan, Pakistan has lost importance from US scheme of things. Right now, US sole focus is to counter China. Under Obama administration, US started the pivot to Asia strategy. US objective is to keep China in check. And Trump under MAGA movement is going for tariff war against China. And in the present time, US is looking forward towards the India to keep China in check, and US himself has tagged India as the closest defense partner outside NATO. And the kind of technology which US is ready to share with India, US is not doing it with Pakistan. So in the present time, we can clearly see US is hyphenating towards India. So US sole interest aligns with whom? India. Okay, and after Pahalgam terror, both president and vice president has clearly criticized Pakistan for fueling and funding terror against India. So US will going to show complete solidarity with India in this particular conflict. Okay, I hope this would have given you ample clarity about this particular Operation Sindoor, and in my opinion, this is one of the, already it has become a huge success diplomatically and militarily both. ठीक है ना? ठीक है ना? So it has already turned huge, tremendously successful diplomatically and militarily, right? तो करें continue further, as so here we are done with the ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, करें आगे, कंटिन्यू. I hope all your queries and doubts are clear. You have ample of ammunition to discuss with your friends on what to say that. आजकल आप करते हो ना चाय पे चर्चा टाइप, ठीक है ना, उसके लिए तो कंटेंट मिल गया आपको बहुत सारा. एक तो एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड होते हैं, एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ते हैं, ये सब तो वैसे डिस्कशन के लिए बहुत मज़ेदार बातें हैं, राइट. सो कमिंग बैक टू आवर डिस्कशन, that is the theories in international relation. Yesterday we discussed different schools of realism. Let's start with liberalism today. Okay.